Hey guys, it's Ben, and in this video I'd like to talk about my newest FTO that I've been using for speed solving. This is another Land FTO, which I have fully modded, and this puzzle has turned out very nice. And it also has a brand new color scheme on it too, and I would like to talk about my thoughts on this puzzle and learning a new color scheme and the results that I have been getting with it. So let's talk about the color scheme first of all. So this color scheme does use exactly the same shades that come with the original Land puzzle out of the box, but I have placed them on different sides so that they are a little bit different. So the green and red faces have been swapped over, and the yellow, purple, and gray faces have been cycled around. So now they are placed on these sides. The reason that I decided to change the color scheme and try a new one in the first place was because my original puzzle, which as we all know uses this color scheme right here, doesn't really use very orthodox colors on it, and they aren't really available on the original Land puzzle when you get it, and I really wanted to try to stick with the shades that come with the original puzzle, but just see if there was some way to place them so that it would really improve my ability to be able to recognize it, because I do not like the original Land color scheme at all, and I still wanted to be able to solve on it really well. And so I decided to go with this. The logic for creating this color scheme is actually similar to the logic from creating my original color scheme. We start with white right here and gray on the opposite side, but this time instead of using additive subtractive color mixing, we have the primary and secondary color wheel. So around the white side, we have red, yellow, and blue surrounding it clockwise, as we can see right here. And then if we flip over to the other side, we have the secondary colors. So we have orange, green, and purple. Now it is a little bit easier to conceptually understand this color scheme if we compare it to my original one like this. So we can see from this angle that really the shades are actually quite similar. The only difference is the hues that are a little bit different. So instead of, for example, magenta, we have the red here. Instead of the light blue, we have the regular blue. And instead of this darker blue, we have the purple, as you can see. And flipping the puzzle over to the other side, again, we see that the shades are very similar, but red has been replaced with orange. And you'll also see that orange and green have swapped places. And the reason for doing this was so that if we look at all of the E centers that I build when I solve the puzzle in the third step of the solution around this gray side, you'll see that orange then follows green clockwise, which is the same way that a cubic color scheme normally works. So that would just make it easier to recognize and prepare for each of the centers as I solve them. What swapping green and orange also achieves, which is quite nice, is that green is now opposite of blue, and orange is now opposite of red. And I think this just makes the color scheme a little bit more intuitive, even compared to my original one, just because, you know, these opposite color pairs are also the same that you'll find on a regular 3x3 cube. Now, yellow is still next to white here, which is kind of, I guess, the only real caveat, but it was the same way with my original color scheme on the FTO, so I don't mind it at all. And just to show, because I think this puzzle really looks nice when scrambled up, I really want to show the contrast that we have between our pieces. It looks great. On half of the sides we have blue, red, gray, and yellow. And on the other half of the sides we have orange, purple, green, and white. And yeah, I gotta say, these colors look great. They have excellent contrast between them. And it's a really pretty puzzle, both scrambled and solved. And so yeah, I'm just super happy with how this came out. So now to actually do this restickering, I didn't exchange entire phases with each other. What I did instead was I took the original Land puzzle, took it apart, and reassembled it into this state. In other words, all of the little triangle pieces were placed on the sides such that it looks like this color scheme. And then the edges and corners were rearranged in such a way to match up the colors as much as possible. What this did is that it left me with only 6 edge stickers that needed to be changed around, and around 10 corner stickers that had to be swapped. So overall, I was able to completely change the color scheme by swapping around less than 20 stickers, which is much better than swapping entire faces and taking upwards of 30 or 40 individual sticker changes. So that's pretty much it. Effectively, when I first got the puzzle out of the box, the first thing I did was I swapped the color scheme to this one, and then I actually did 250 break-in solves without any lube or tensioning or anything, and it was an absolute nightmare. My wrists hurt really bad, but I think it was definitely worth it, and it did really help break in the puzzle quite a bit before I went into the modding phase. So I modded this puzzle in the exact same way that I modded my original FTO and the same method that I show in my tutorial video. But there is actually one small difference, and that is with these corner pieces here. So comparing the corners between the puzzles, on the original FTO, I kind of sanded up this part of the corner cap and just kind of left this unblended here. But on the new corner piece, you can see that I actually blended in the rounding between the corner base and with the corner cap piece. Other than this small change, everything else about how I modded these corner pieces was the same as with the original puzzle. And ultimately, I don't really think this makes the performance much different, or even better, honestly, but it was something to at least experiment with, and I'm actually quite happy with how this came out. The pieces look very, very nice. The modding process took me a really long time to do, as it always does with these things. I spent about a week off and on doing all of the modification, but once it was done, I was then able to reassemble the puzzle. I swapped the springs for the weaker springs in the Papermate pens, which I also show in my mod tutorial. Tensioned it, lubricated it, and started solving with it. And I gotta say, this puzzle is absolutely amazing. It is much, much lighter turning than my previous modded FTOs, and it actually also feels a lot more stable too. It is incredibly smooth to turn, and almost never has popping or locking issues, which is actually really nice. Basically, an average of 100, I would only really expect maybe 1 or 2 triangle pops. So the popping is greatly reduced, and I guess that's just due to me rounding off these triangle pieces really well. The lockup pops just don't happen anymore. Furthermore, algorithms are just a breeze to execute on this thing. They're very, very quick, and yeah, the corner cutting, of course, is not going to be super great still because it is a land puzzle, but it is much better than out of the box. And we even have some reverse corner cutting, and of course this works from both angles. So yeah, I really could not be happier with the performance of this puzzle, and I can confirm that this is now my main go-to FTO for speed solving. This puzzle has given me my fastest ever single solve time of 20.91 seconds, which was really, really nice. I recently did an average of 100 on this puzzle in particular on my Twitch channel, and I was able to get my first ever sub 30 average of 12 solves, non-rolling 29.78 average. Super duper happy with that, and really pleased that I was finally able to get that sub 30 average of 12, which is something I have been chasing for quite a while, and hopefully even more PBs in the future. Now, in terms of actually adjusting to the color scheme for solving, it did take me some time at first. At first I was getting the centers a little bit confused and trying to make sure that I got all my color schemes correct on every side. But after practicing with it for some time, it took about a week before I was getting close to my original solve times that I was capable of pulling off previously and reducing, pauses trying to recognize certain things. And after 2 weeks, I was pretty much locked in. Like, I was able to solve on this puzzle with no issues, no recognition problems. And if I did ever, get a color scheme wrong or something, it's not like it wouldn't happen on my old color scheme either. So it's pretty much ingrained in my memory at this point, and I can solve on this puzzle with no issues just fine, and I really, really enjoy it. So to summarize and give my final thoughts, it was definitely an interesting experience to try and change my color scheme on a puzzle that I've been solving on for so long. At first I thought it was going to be very difficult to get used to and be very frustrating. However, because this color scheme still has a similar sort of structure and placement akin to my original color scheme, I found that I really didn't have a lot of problems learning it, and I really, really enjoyed the process. It has really reignited my joy in solving, and I gotta say that if you ever get really bored with solving a puzzle, just try a different color scheme just to see what happens. Out of curiosity, you may find that you like it, and it may give you more interest again in solving the puzzle and getting good at it. I mean, that's what happened here for me, and yeah, it was a wonderful experience, and overall, I'm really happy that I did this and gave it a try, and in the end, I got a great puzzle that I really love solving on, and I couldn't be happier. So that's about it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more FTO content in the future. There are some really incredible solvers right now, and I'm actually working on an exciting collaboration video which you may see soon, so keep an eye out for that. Also, there's a whole lot going on in the competition world with this puzzle. CubersLive is hosting the Twisty Puzzle Cup FTO Melee series, where the top FTO solvers in the world are going head-to-head in a knockout elimination format, and it's really, really exciting, and I definitely encourage you to go check them out. The link to their site is in the description. And yeah, FTO is just a really exciting thing right now. But with that, hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks so much for watching.